Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your April 2018 general readings. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Welcome to any newcomers. I know my background's changed a little bit. No, I'm not traveling, which is usually the reason, but I'm not doing readings from my desk for the last couple of weeks and the next few weeks because I had foot surgery a couple of weeks ago and I have to keep my leg elevated. Which I can't do at my desk. So for the time being, I'm doing all of my general videos and all of my personal client readings from my couch or my bed or something. So that's why the background's a little bit different. Anyway, thanks for joining us here today, and thank you for all your likes, shares, subscribes, and for taking the time to send in your support, feedback, and comments. You guys are great. And also always a thank you to all of my clients out there, regular and new clients, for keeping me always so busy and occupied with one-on-one readings. It's always an honor and a pleasure to read for you, to read for all of you. If any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me and you haven't read with me before, or you've forgotten the information, you can get that information and my contact details by going to my YouTube channel's homepage, clicking on that little About button. You can also find that information attached to the description of all the videos I post. Feel free to email me directly at maggie1maguire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. Turnaround time for personal readings, live or recorded, is usually pretty fast because I do readings full time, 5 to 6 days a week. It is what I do. So I can usually fit you in within a 2-week period of time, sometimes a little bit sooner. Just kind of depends on the schedule. I actually have a little more downtime now, right now. So I do a wide variety of readings in all main areas of life: love and romance, of course, career, work, and finance, channeled messages from past on loved ones, spirituality readings. I also do specifically designed spreads like reconciliation opportunities, relationship compatibility charts, career path charting, and 6 and 12-month overviews, which look at what's coming up in your life for a 6 or 12-month period of time, depending on how far out you want to look. So send me an email and we will go from there. If you just have one or two simple questions that you just need a fast answer to, you can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy, and that's also with my contact details. Okay, let's move right into this. This reading is for the air sign of Aquarius for April 2018. Let's see what's in store for Aquarius, our lovely water bearers for the month of April 2018. Make sure to check your rising and your moon sign videos as well if you know them. They can give you additional insight and clarification. They may play out a little more predictably for you at some times than others, because these are general readings, which are kind of tricky. You're reading for a lot of people. So they're going to resonate differently for everybody watching. Everybody has different things going on in their lives. The details and specifics will always vary depending on who's watching, but the energy and advice fundamentally remains the same. So we always advise that you watch all 3 of your sign videos if you can. All right, Aquarius, let's see what April has in store for you. We begin with death or transformation, accompanied by the Knight of Cups. We have the Page of Swords, accompanied by the Queen of Swords. We have the 2 of Cups, followed by the 4 of Cups. And we have the 4 of Pentacles, followed by Judgment. And from the bottom of the deck, your overall energy and focus and advice for the month of April 2018 is the Hanging Man. So you have 3 major arcana cards, so it looks like there could be significant changes or shifts or the opportunity. And I think, Aquarius, that it's an opportunity for growth and learning and getting over something which may be, I don't like catchphrases like character defect, because that's the one that just jumped to my mind, but perhaps an area of life that you may want to rethink your belief systems or your normal method of doing something or looking or thinking at something. I almost feel like this is one of those readings which might come out as a lecture. I'll do my best. It looks like there's going to be an opportunity for something to come to an end, because that's how we begin the month. I am recording these in the last few days of March, by the way. So we begin with death, transformation, and the Knight of Cups. So death represents a complete and major ending of something, a big chapter, closure of some kind, really complete closure. Typically when I see death coming up, what's usually ending in such a major way is usually something that's been with us for quite some time, and it's usually something in regards to the past. And death represents not just pruning of an area, this represents just a complete clearing out of the ground so that it can be ready to plant something new, to grow something new. And what could be dying, it could be a variety of different things. This is a general reading, so the details and specifics of how this resonates going to vary. It's the energy and the advice that remains the same. Something is coming to an end which has been hanging around for quite some time, and I really feel just through general channeling and intuition with spirit and also the surrounding cards, I really feel like what you will have an opportunity to bring to an end is a way of doing something which really represents a belief system or a way of looking at something, a way that you have of operating in perhaps a certain area of your life. For some of you, this is going to be relationship, which because we do have the Two of Cups here. So something is coming to a major end, which represents the opportunity for a new beginning, because in the seeds of every ending, of every death, is in the ruins, in every loss are the seeds for a new beginning, a rebirth, because birth follows death, beginnings follow endings. That's how it works. So there needs to be a major ending, or there is a major ending. Now death is clarified, or a complete transformation as well. So death is clarified by the Knight of Cups. Here we have emotional energy, because Cups is water energy in the tarot, and this is the area of our life that deals with emotions, feelings, and relationships. The Knight of Cups. Now this could represent another external person who's significant in your life, or perhaps in this situation. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio person, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or someone who manifests like the Knight of Cups. I feel like for a lot of you this might be you, though, maybe in the relationship arena. The Knight of Cups is an idealist. Nothing wrong with that. This could also be, sometimes Knights usually often represent opportunities and offers being brought to you as well. So sometimes this could represent like an offer of love, or somebody asking you out on a date, or vice versa, or an offer of emotional support, because Cups is emotions, feelings, relationships. If you were to be courted by the Knight of Cups, he or she would be like romantic, poetic, an idealist, in love with love itself. The challenge that the Knight of Cups has, and I feel like this may be for a lot of you, the challenge, but it could be another person that you've been involved with or back and forth with. The Knight of Cups challenge is in follow through, because he's an emotional person, and when he's feeling he or she is feeling the heat of their emotions, they promise the world, the sun, the moon, the stars, everything. I'll love you forever. Yes, I'll be there. Yes, I'll do this. But when the emotions die down, so does their perseverance sometimes, or their ability to follow through from beginning to end. If the Knight of Cups has a challenge, that's probably the Knight of Cups. His or her main challenge is in follow through. You can see he's holding up his cup of emotions, his cup of love, and his horse is rearing up. Woo-hoo! I'm ready to charge off, to be the knight, to be the emotional knight, the knight of love, and charge off. But it's usually when the initial excitement dies down and the day-to-day of what needs to happen happens. He sometimes runs out of gas. So this can play out a couple of different ways. I think for a lot of you, this might be you. It may be, and it may not be in love and romance relationships, it might be in the relationship arena of your life that you may feel, maybe when you first start relationships of any kind, and you're feeling that initial spark of interest or attraction or liking, you may promise things or start something, but then afterwards, maybe when the emotions of it begin to die down, or there might, issues crop up or something, you may have difficulty, or the person you're with may have difficulty with kind of continuing past a certain point. And that may be an issue maybe for some air signs, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. Air signs, which is represented by the Suit of Swords in the tarot, is air energy, and it's mental, cerebral, intellectual energy. And sometimes I think air signs, if they have a challenge in relationships, it's in that they tend to think so clearly, so intellectually, so linearly, that they sometimes have difficulty in relationships because they may come off as too clinical, or maybe a little bit emotionally reserved or detached, and maybe they don't even necessarily mean to do that. It's just who they are, you know, how they come off. They tend to be analytical, and they tend to be thinkers first, feelers second. So sometimes feelings can be maybe overwhelming, or they get caught up in them, and then, you know, the logic kicks in after that, and they may tend to be a bit more reserved or back off. And I feel like that may be a challenge for some of you, and that in the month of April, it looks like there may be an opportunity maybe within your relationship life to change that. And of course, for some of you, this could be a person that you're in a relationship with operating this way. I feel like for a lot of you, it's some significant relationship that you're already in, because we have the Two of Cups here, which is traditionally the soulmate card in love and romance. It can also represent best friends that transition into something else. Or like a best friend, a kindred spirit, because the Two of Cups represents a really great union between two things, two energies coming together, two people, two entities, even two corporations in business, in a way that benefits in more than just the tangible way. The Two of Cups is clarified by the Four of Cups, which is a card kind of boredom, disinterest, a lack of gratitude. It's kind of like the shine he still has these beautiful cups, which implies that what he has is still as abundant as it ever was, but for some reason it's lost its shine. And so is what's being offered to him. I sometimes call it the boredom and gratitude card, because it can be a card of feeling restless, feeling kind of bored, not appreciating that which you may have appreciated before. And since it's clarifying the Two of Cups, it looks like there's some kind of significant emotionally connective relationship that you're maybe not feeling plugged into, and this vice versa. It could be your partner as well. You guys are just going through this phase or you're just not feeling it, or it's just you're there because the emotions kind of have maybe died out of it, or for some of you, a smaller portion of you, it could be that you began a relationship with somebody that you really liked, that you really felt connected to, but maybe it wasn't as deep or soulful or passionate as you really wanted it to be. And because of that, now that kind of the first flush, or maybe the honeymoon's over, now, you know, we have the Page of Swords and the Queen of Swords here. Now the air energy, the thoughts, the logic, the practicalities have kicked in, and you're thinking more logically, more clinically, and you're not feeling as emotionally plugged in. This can be you, this can be your partner, this could be both of you together, a love and romance partner, or a best friend, or some very emotionally connected relationship. Now, and there may have been, maybe that there's been issues going on back and forth as well, and maybe there's been some conflict within the significant relationship too. And maybe somebody's been promising over and over again that it'll be different, or things will change, whether it's you or the other person. And it's time for that to kind of come to an end and figure out what you need to do moving forward, because you're going to be, you're accountable. We're accountable for our own lives and our own choices, which is what the energy at the end of the month is. We have the Four of Pentacles and Judgment here. I hope this is coming out clearly, because I feel like I'm reading for maybe 3 groups of Aquarians. Some of you, this could be your partner. Some of it, it's maybe you and this other person together. Some of it, it's you. The Four of Pentacles and Judgment. So the Four of Pentacles, earth energy. This is a card about holding on to what you have. Sometimes it can represent holding on too tightly because you've lost in the past. I see this card come up sometimes with people who have lost a lot in their life, or has had a lot taken away from them, whether through external reasons or poor choices of their own. And they cling very tightly to what they have left, or what they have in their life, even when they don't need to, or even when they shouldn't, because they're just tired of losing, or they're tired of starting over again. And so even if what they're holding on to doesn't necessarily make them happy, they hold on to it anyway, because they don't want to lose anymore. They don't want to end again. They don't want to start over again. So it can be a card of holding on too tightly for the wrong reasons. And finances, it's sometimes called the miser card, you know, being really cheap. In an emotional level, this can represent holding on too tightly as well. It can represent being too protective, self-protective, closed off, guarded even. So it's clarified and accompanied by Judgment, Major Arcana card. This is a card of being accountable and responsible for what you do, for your actions, your choices, your decisions. Regardless of what motivates them, you are responsible for what you do choose or what you don't choose, or what actions you take or don't take. Because that's what judgment really is. What is judgment? What does it mean to be judged? It means that you are called to account for yourself. You're called to account, to be held responsible for what you do, the choices you make, the things you set into motion or don't. You're accountable for that. And it's a card which has an air of finality, meaning that whatever you choose and do, you can't really reverse. It sets things in motion that, can't be stopped, which is what judgment is. Judgment lays down something. You're called to account for your choices, decisions, and actions. They are judged, and that judgment is final. So it's always cautionary advice to think very carefully about what you're doing and what you may be thinking of doing. I often see judgment come up when a client is in a decision-making process. They're thinking about making a decision, and it could be, and in the present, it could feel like a significant decision, or it could feel like a small decision, or maybe it's just things that they're doing, maybe holding on too tightly or not holding on enough, or not doing what they need to plug back in. If this resonates for those of you for whom this would resonate in the relationship area of your life, you're accountable for how things are turning out. You are, even in a relationship, you're responsible for your part of it. And I see judgment coming up when it could be a major decision or a small decision or series of actions that may not feel important in the present, or you may not think they're all that important, but they really have consequences and effects that are far-reaching and irreversible, kind of like a ripple effect when you throw something in and the ripples continue and continue. So it's usually a card that comes up about a decision you've made or are thinking of making, or actions that you're taking. Maybe you don't think they're all that important, but they really have an effect, particularly in the relationship area of your life. Now, your overall energy and advice for the month is the Hanging Man, Major Arcana card. This is a card which represents kind of letting things play out for a while anyway. It's temporary energy, and not involving yourself or trying to maneuver or manipulate an outcome or a situation or a relationship how you want it based on how you feel. The Hanging Man, you can see he's hanging upside down in what appears to be perhaps an awkward or uncomfortable position, but he's not resisting. He's watching things, he's letting things play out. This is not getting involved in conflict, or this is withdrawing from conflict and letting things and people, letting things kind of play out for a while, seeing how they play out without actively involving yourself to maneuver things, to how you want them to be for the time being. It's temporary transitional energy. So it looks like for the month of April 2018, Aquarius, you're being asked to kind of not make any, it doesn't look like a good idea to make any really significant or major decisions, particularly in the relationship area of your life, regardless of the nature of that relationship. And if you absolutely have to, be very careful about considering the long-reaching effects or consequences of the decisions you make out in the future. Consider all the pros and cons, because it looks like the advice is to let things play out for a time. If you're in a relationship and it's just kind of in that boring phase and you just don't feel plugged in, let things play out for a time. And if you do anything, do it with the idea of doing things that might bring you closer together or kind of re-energize that spark. But don't involve yourself in any conflict if you can avoid it. And don't make any significant life-changing or relationship-changing decisions. And maybe take a look at what your part to play has been in this. Even if you're in a relationship where you don't, maybe the other person, you feel like you're in the right or something. Maybe take a look at, we're still responsible for our own actions and choices and decisions. And you may want to take a look at how you normally do things, because it looks like something needs to come to an end. Whether it's getting involved with the same kind of person over and over again. It looks like there's a pattern here which needs to be broken. Whether it's an actual relationship or how you tend to look at relationships and your role in relationships as well. Regardless of the nature of those relationships, because general readings are kind of tricky. They're going to resonate differently for everybody out there. So hopefully this reading made sense to who it needed to make sense to. So Aquarius, that pretty much wraps up your April 2018 general reading. I hope that you found it useful. Maybe it gave you a little bit of insight or validation of what you've already been thinking and feeling. Thank you for watching it. Again, if any of you are interested in a more personal one-on-one reading with me, please go to my YouTube channel's homepage, click on that About button for more information and my contact details. You can also find those by looking at the description bar of all the videos that I post. Email me directly at maggie1maguire@gmail.com. I would be most happy to work with you. And for fast answers to those really quick, easy questions, you can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy. And all that with my contact info. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks, Aquarius, for the April 2018 mid-month readings. And until then, as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Take care, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.